Hey everybody, Card Dreamer here, coming at you on behalf of D Class and all things D Class related, recording from my favorite spot.
My place, of course.
Oh, that's right. But I mean, it just happened to still be here. It's just pure coincidence.
Yeah.
Uh, but welcome, Dace, to another one of our discussions. I mean, I appreciate you taking the time to be in your own home to do this.
Yeah. No problem, man.
Uh, but so today's discussion is going to actually. Would you like to introduce the topic of the discussion?
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, we cooked up something super special for you guys. We're going to be going over kind of like, I'm not sure both lists are going to be like exactly five. The first one for me will be, but we're going to do like a top five sort of deal where we've got games that we have and we haven't gotten around to playing them yet, even though we want to. For one reason or another, we just haven't. So that's going to be the first one we zero in on. And then I think the next one is going to be sort of like a twist on that, games that like we're, or at least for me, desperately wanting to play, but waiting on things like pre-orders, like games that are already out, but for Switch versions specifically, I'm just still waiting on, yeah, some of these games, but ones that are just like, oh, when they get here, they are like, that's the only thing that's happening. So yeah, that's kind of like what we're going to be doing, but it's going to be really loose and just we're going to see what happens.
Yeah, that work. Yeah, I think you've probably got more in the terms of. I know I'm Mr. Moneybags dropping those 4K unboxings, but I
Yeah,
think I think you spread out the 4K into a lot of little unboxings. I
yeah,
do it all in
definitely.
one shot, so you get more for your money. I just get more of you for the money. Yeah, so and then kind of what brought this on is because I know you and I have done a discussion about just backlogs in general and
Hmm.
what that means, like to each of us, like to have a backlog, is it even matter, is it important, whatever. Um, but I thought it'd be interesting, like, because obviously a backlog builds up because by definition they're all games you want to play. I don't consider someone who just collects for the sake of collecting to have a backlog because their intent isn't to play everything they're collecting.
Exactly.
Um, but because I know for me, we were a little bit what spawned this idea was, man, I really want to play this, and it's kind of like it might be something you've played that I really want to, and I haven't and just haven't had a chance, or vice versa, for whatever reason. It could be another game or something else, or life, and never just keeps holding you back, or you get distracted, and so it just keeps staying in the backlog, but you want to get to it.
Hmm.
So I just thought it'd be cool to kind of keep ourselves pumped for those games. Like what? Because it's real easy to say, "Oh my gosh, I'm pumped for the game that isn't out yet," and then people jump on it day one and play it. And that's all fine and good to be excited to play a new release. But I'm one of those who just can't do that with all the systems and just all the games coming out, plus working 40 plus hours a week. It just isn't going to happen.
Yeah, for sure.
So why don't you do the honors of giving us what your number one game well, I guess you want to do the one that you have, but you just haven't gotten to yet.
Yeah. So yeah, the one I hinted at. So yeah, this one is an interesting one because I've technically sampled it a little bit when it first hit Switch, but I never devoted myself to it in terms of like, okay, I'm playing this game, like I'm gonna like, go through it. It was kind of just like I was doing content for it, and then I didn't really do anything with it after the fact. So I'm kind of like squeezing this one in under those conditions, but that would be Tangle Deep. So for those of you who don't know what that one is, if I'm not mistaken, it was like a 2019 release. Pretty sure. and it's like a top-down um, adventure with like rogue-inspired elements thrown into the mix. So, for instance, like you have your, and of course this is going way back, so the details are sort of hazy, but you have like a main like village sort of thing in the woods or whatever that you can kind of like build up over time. And if you're playing on like let's say a beginner difficulty or something, there's really no consequence if you get a game over. But let's say you've built up your village to such a grand degree and you're playing on a higher difficulty and you die, then like everything gets wiped. You're starting like a brand new file essentially. So in that sense, there is something that really appeals to me because I love games like that where you've just got to be so smart with what you do, and every little choice is going to have an impact. And I just love the sheer weight of decisions in games like that. So the graphical style is really, really awesome. Definitely look up pics if you don't know the game or even videos or whatever.
That's actually what I'm doing while you're talking, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's freaking amazing.
yeah, totally. It's like it combines like 16-bit graphics um, with just like, yeah, there's something like retro, but also something a little modern too. But when I first saw this game announced that it was going to be coming out down the road, I was like, that is going to be a day one purchase for me. And yeah, so oddly enough, I have just gotten onto other games since that point, and this one, whenever I see it within my like shmup list when I'm or shmup list, my games list when I'm on the Switch, which is predominantly shmups, so it is kind of a shmup list. But whenever I see this game's thumbnail, it's just like, man, that game struck a chord, and I totally want to get back to it. So yeah, just earlier today I was thinking, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna make a point of doing that game from start to finish this year for sure. 2021 peeps, tangled deep.
Man, that'll be awesome. Because yeah, the more I'm looking at this, like I'm just looking at it, going, "How has he not done this game yet?"
Yeah, seriously, man.
I mean,
And
and
I,
half of what you said that was funny. You're like, you're doing a harder difficulty, and you get so far, and then you die, you lose all your progression. I'm like, but what's that mean to Dace God mode? I mean, really.
and it's
You're,
interesting
for
because
all
there've
you
been
normal people, you'll lose your progress. But for me, no, I'm just gonna beat the game 2 times in a row before it even remotely becomes a challenge.
and I think there have been some expansions or something since I even knew about the game. So yeah, it'll be interesting to check that out at some point.
Oh man, there's a sidetrack right there because I've done that where I've had a game for so long. There's been like a bunch of DLC added to it, patches that make things smoother. They just added cut, and it's just so neat knowing your first experience is so much more richer than the person who jumped in day one.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think that's such a
totally.
cool experience. But that's a sidetrack. So my number one is actually going to be out of everything, Legend of Zelda: The Minish Cap, and the reason I'm
Oh
putting that in,
man.
the only reason it's taking me so long to get to that was there's two reasons. One, that it was a handheld and I just got away from handheld playing because of the size of the screen. Just it bugged me to look at something that small. Not that the games are bad, had nothing to do with that. And Nintendo makes great handhelds, so I'm not knocking the handheld. It's just the size was a bother to my eyes after a while. But I have other means now of playing this game on a larger screen, and I just kind of put it off also because for the longest time I've had nothing but love for the series of Zelda. I mean, I have fond memories of growing up with the first Zelda, The Adventures of Link, A Link to the Past, and Link's Awakening are tied for my favorite Zelda game. They're just so good. Those are the epitome of a Zelda for me. And then I loved Ocarina of Time. That was such a good game. But then, not that I didn't sample other Zelda since then. I did Four Swords for GameCube.
I say we just go on like a 4-hour Zelda tangent.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, the principal point is like I have my loves, but then Breath of the Wild came, and as great of a game that is, it was off-putting for a Zelda game for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of stopped. I didn't keep going with that, and I don't want to ruin my love for Zelda, so I kind of put it off. But I heard nothing but great things, and I'm stoked to get back to what is more what I think of as a traditional Zelda. I know everybody's got their preference for what type of Zelda they play, so that's my reasoning for having waited so long and not played it yet. It was either because it was handheld or because I don't ever want to play a bad Zelda, so to speak, for me.
Yeah.
So I that's my number one. I'm excited. This year is going to be the year I play it.
Oh man, I feel the same way. It's interesting that you bring that up because I was thinking about that, but I was like, how do I like weasel that game onto a list, even though like I don't have it, but I do, but I don't want to admit it because then I'm playing the SNES Mini and not Switch.
But at least it's still Nintendo.
Yeah, true. But
And
I do really
have,
want to. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, and technically speaking, you do own now the system it was meant for. So
Yeah,
you
it's
can
just.
balance it. You can balance it now.
But yeah, I really do want to track down like a legit physical copy because I really want to play that game in handheld. I don't want to sit in front of this huge screen and play it, to be honest. Like there's just something so magical about the Game Boy and just knowing that like back then I would have played this. Um, but I just wasn't aware of it or whatever. But now I am, so it's just a matter of tracking down a copy.
No, and that is fair because honestly, nothing nostalgia-wise like looking back, even though you've done more recent plays and I could easily do the same thing. Like, as much as I love the original OG Link's Awakening, there was a fondness from back playing it on the actual Game Boy as opposed to any other method.
Yeah,
Even the Switch remake is just not. It's not the same because it's not. Even if you played it undocked, it's not the same.
exactly. I honestly like for me the DX version of Link's Awakening was the first, and that cannot be beat. Like I don't care how great remakes look or like what they do differently. Like it just that original experience is everything.
So true. So what is your second game?
So my second one is one that for years upon years upon years, I've been a huge fan of a game that relates to this one that I'm about to mention, and is the one that relates to it is one that I usually consider in my like one of my top two RPGs of all time. So the one the one that relates to it is Chrono Trigger. So obviously Chrono Cross, one of my favorite RPGs. Chrono Trigger, I've known about for decades, and I've never heard anything but just how incredible of a game it is. And although I don't have the original, I do have that on the SNES Mini, thanks to you. And
Which sucks.
and it's interesting because like I have access to it, but there's just something about starting it. Like I think in ways I'm just going to like hold off until I really feel like it's time to pick that one up and play, but it's one that I do really want to experience at some point because just the reputation it has, just the ties that it has to one of my all-time favorite RPGs, like it just has got to be played. And I know I'm going to love it when I do play it. So, that's my second one, Chrono Trigger.
Man, I feel like that should have been because of what you just said. Like, I feel like that should have been number one. Period. Just because I love like that is the reason why I even initially thought of the idea. Or I came start discussing the idea with you for this list was just because time, like that's a perfect reason. It's perfect example of like, you have this game, like this love waiting for you, and it's
Hmm.
just like, but you want to make the moment count. You don't want to play it for the sake of play. It's just you, because when you play it at the right time, it's just going to be like the best experience.
Absolutely.
That is an awesome reason. I love that. That's a cool reason to like almost justifies having a backlog. Like it really does.
Almost.
Almost. Um, no, that's great, man. I can't even top that reason. That's so good. I love that. I think my second is going to be ironically. No, won't say that second. My second is actually one. This is like the asterisk game I was telling you about that I have a big asterisk next to it.
Hmm.
So it's going to be the first Ni no Kune,
Nice.
Wrath of the White Witch. And I say I have the asterisk to it because I started it a couple years ago. I have like 13 hours in on it on the PS3 version.
Man, this guy's a fraud.
Right. Well, I never got I got distracted, so I never beat the game. And then since then, the remaster version came out for uh, PS4, and I think technically the PS3 version that got ported to Switch.
Yeah.
But it's become re-available, revitalized, and I got the remaster version for PS4. And I think that's definitely added new love. Like I don't want to go back to my PS3 save. I want to re-experience it kind of for the first time. And
Hmm.
this is one I'm like, you and I've discussed remasters in general. Like some of them are just money grabs, plain and simple. And I really kind of felt like that's what the remaster for Ni no Kune was going to be, because I'm like, I can still see the PS3 version in my head, and it's such a gorgeous game. I'm like, how are you really going to top this? Like, your remaster's got to be a money grab,
Yeah.
because what do you do? Like, and I remember watching, I think, what's his name? Ice Cream?
Ice Kareem. Yeah.
Ice Cream. Yeah, he was streaming it, and man, like, it blew me away how much more vivid they made it, and like beautiful. There was no doubt in my mind like this was gonna make me fall in love with the game all over again.
Wow.
It looks so good, so I'm like, all right, this is a remaster that I've got to do, because I did fall in love with that game playing it on PS3. The
Hmm.
story is so heart touching, like, and the gameplay is so good. It's a Studio Ghibli game, so the art is amazing. Um, and the fact that the colors are now so much more vibrant and geared for a system that can do uh, 4K, whatever. I mean, they really utilized what they can color palette for high def and so HDR and all that. So I'm just super stoked, as if I never played it, to jump back into it for the first time, so to speak. So that's
Oh,
definitely
yeah,
made.
that's fantastic.
But having said that, what is your third game?
Oh man, my third is game I just decided to finally get around to, and that is Destiny. No, I'm just kidding. Because we know I
That,
have no
ladies and
idea what
gentlemen, is
game
why
that
I'm
is.
moving out of this place. I can't handle this.
No, I
Weird,
still have no
weird.
idea what that game is. No, my third is so yeah, this is another one where when it was announced, I was like, that looks so good. I'm getting it. And then it came out. I didn't get the digital because they announced a physical or whatever. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to wait. So everyone on the planet waited like 1,000 years for the physical to like finally show up. And then I have not booted up once. And that game is Gunlord X, which is yeah, like a platformer, like action, like just blowing things up. I'm not sure what I would really compare it to be honest, but like visually speaking, like it just looks awesome. The pixel art, the colors, just everything about it. screams that it's going to be an awesome time where you feel like you're playing something on the Super Nintendo or whatever way back. So I feel like it's going to be a just something that takes me back quite a few years.
Not, okay. Sounds like an intriguing game. Sounds like Mega Man on crack. Like, I mean, just like amped up. I mean, like just over the top. It sounds really interesting. At first, I thought you were going to say it's a shmup because I don't know the title.
Okay.
That's why I was like, so I'm going based on purely your description. That's why I was like, when you said it was platforming, blowing stuff up, I'm like, that just sounds a little familiar, but just way more over the top, you know?
Yeah. I definitely recommend looking up like screenshots, man. Like they're just huge bosses and just epic environments, like
And
lava zones, like
say
all sorts of
say the name again,
aw-
just so I get it right.
um Gunlord X, as in the letter X.
Oh, dude, yeah. Okay, so I'm like, it's like, okay, I see. Well, this looks like almost like Contra-esque, like
Yeah, I was
Mega
gonna
Man and Contra put together.
yeah, I was gonna say like Contra, but I wasn't sure like how accurate that would be.
No, I'd say that's a little that's pretty accurate. That this looks like a neat game. Man, you got see. This is why I love doing discussions with you because I just learned about so many more games.
Oh, dude.
I mean, thanks, I'm in debt, but I no, that looks awesome, dude. That's it's weird because it almost has a shmup vibe without being a shmup.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? Seeing these images that I'm like scrolling through now, it's like, man, I think I've got to do like a let's play like in the next few days or something, or at least start it. Because like, how have I not booted this up yet? It's
Yeah,
so good.
really, that is good. Oh,
Yeah,
all
what
right.
about you though?
So my third is actually going to be Spider-Man for PlayStation.
Oh, interesting.
Like specifically the PlayStation exclusive Spider-Man that became such a huge hit. And so I kind of put it off for twofold. I do have the game on PlayStation 4, where it was initially man. I got all the DLC for it. I was like, okay, I'm going to jump into this soon. And then they did the PS5, and then there's the remaster version along with the Miles Morales add-on, and I'm like, thanks, guys, because so now everything I just spent money on down the drain. Because obviously I'm going to want to play the best version of the game, so I'm going to go get it for PS5 now,
Yeah.
and um, so that's the only reason it got put off is because I want to play the best version of the game. So I don't mind buying the remaster version plus Miles Morales because I got the PS4 version so cheap. I got it on sale for like $20, and the DLC I got pretty cheap too.
Sweet.
So I don't really, it doesn't really bother me to double dip and support a game that has garnered such well reputation. Now the remaster has gotten a little flack here and there, but having not played the PS4 version to compare it to me, it's probably not even going to be an issue.
Hmm.
Uh, so yeah, I as you know, I'm a huge comic book person. I love a lot of movies. I love comic books. I love games based on them. And this one is such a no-brainer to get into. I've seen images and videos of it. It is such a beautiful looking game. Just from what I've seen video wise, like I know all of it. I've played other Spider-Man games that are free roam, but this looks like it just blows it out of the water. I'm just super stoked to really explore the gameplay and the open worldness of it. So
Wow.
I just got to buy it on PS5 now.
Yeah. We'll get on it.
Oh, it will happen. Trust me, it's going to happen soon.
Are you thinking that's like a 2021 game?
Oh no! Oh, that's a 2021 game. There's no. I don't think it's going to hit D class. Sorry, guys. Just because it's so vast that I don't know how I could possibly do that realistically. I mean, I just don't see doing a full Let's Play. That's just so many videos. maybe I'll do a let's try just so people could see get my reaction to delving in for the first time.
Yeah, I think that would be sweet.
But yeah, that's definitely going to be a this year. That there's no ifs, ands, or buts. I think I'm going to try to make a point of at least 3 of these games are going to be this year.
Yeah, I feel the same way about some of these. Some I know might not, like ones I haven't mentioned yet. But some of these are like, yeah, Tangle Deep for sure. I'm feeling Gunlord X. I think that's probably going to be the first thing out of this list that I just get right into very soon. But yeah, I totally hear that. Some games are going to be done this year, and others can just continue waiting for the perfect time.
They can just, they can build the anticipation for the moment.
Totally.
For that special unboxing. I could be talking about a whole different web series, guys. Sorry. All right, so what is your number 4?
Okay, so number 4. This is kind of one that like at the time that I was like ordering it, and I do have it in my arsenal. But at the time that I was ordering it, I was in a huge RPG phase. I was like cleaning up RPGs that I had on the go. I was starting new ones, blasting through them. So in that sense, I had every intention of, okay, as soon as this one gets here and I've wrapped up the one that I was playing, like I'm jumping in no matter what. But what happened was I kind of just, yeah, after I finished cleaning up a bunch of the RPGs and yeah, just sampling some other stuff that I was getting into, I kind of just came out of my RPG phase, which happens. Like I come in and out. Card Dreamer knows all about it.
I'm sorry, guys. Yep, I know what he's talking about. He's not even talking about the games. I mean, it's all fun and games, don't get me wrong, but we're not talking about this Nintendo Switch list.
Yeah. But yeah, so I got the working class edition of Xenoblade Chronicles.
I don't even care. This is the fun of doing these discussions. I mean,
yeah, exactly, man.
Danny, you know what's up. I know you know what's up.
So yeah, Xenoblade Chronicles, like, when I saw number 2 trailers for the Switch, I was just like, wow, that looks so incredible. But like, I know nothing about the series, and even though you don't need to, from what I've heard, I just didn't want to bother with number 2. So yeah, when I saw that Xenoblade Chronicles was coming out, I was like, that's going to be a must. Just an insanely vast world, epic adventure, and like all this blah blah blah. And then that would be a great way to get into number 2. And the other one, I think Torna, eventually.
I think
But yeah,
it's just DLC for the second one, like a big DLC expansion.
okay. I thought Torna was like 500 years before the events of like one of them or something like that.
It may be, but it's still DLC for the second one. I don't know when it takes place, but it is DLC.
Interesting. Okay, cool. But yeah, like I think in ways I was just like, yeah, you know what? I've just pumped a lot of hours into these RPGs, so I don't really want to boot one up that's going to be at least 80 or who knows how long. And so that has sat on my Switch shelf in its incredible looking box. I haven't even cracked it yet, and I'm not going to until I actually play it. But yeah, that's another one that I do have and I do want to get to, but it's a matter of when I'm really feeling like it's not just about when I feel like having an RPG on the go. It's when I feel it's time for Xenoblade and when I know I'm going to have or make that amount of time, because that is a big one compared to a lot of RPGs.
Definitely. That is an awesome choice, man. I sampled that on the Wii with the original,
Yeah.
the initial version of Xenoblade on the Wii, and I don't know how the remaster handles controls. I'm pretty sure they're going to be very similar because they both have motion control. I don't see why they can't reproduce it.
Hmm.
But I got the same version you did for for the remaster, and I know Little CD, he played through the game and he loved it, and I've from what he's read up and what I've seen, like that game could be well over 100 hours easy trying to wrap up so much.
Hmm.
Um, and it is like when I think back to what it looked like on the Wii, what that game looked like visually, it was such a gorgeous game for that system. I'm so stoked. Like I don't really think I've seen too many images of the remaster, and
Hmm.
that's been kind of dumb on purpose. I don't want to. I can't wait to dive into that one myself. That's a great choice. Like that's going to be such an epic adventure.
Oh,
And that's such a valid point. Something on that scale, you've really got to be like, you got to know you're going to have the dedication and time to want to sink into it. I mean,
yeah.
even if your mentality is an hour a night, sure that's 100 nights or something, whatever. But you got to be mentally prepared. Like I'm going to be now chipping away at this game for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, totally. The commitment has got to be there because like I really don't want to have a situation where it's like let's say I record the first chunk just for the sake of sharing and then I want to play the rest on my own. Like I don't want to yeah, just like jump into something and then just be like, "Oh, okay, yeah, this is like more than I want to actually deal with right now." Because then guess what? It's just gonna sit and I would rather wait until I'm really craving an RPG, um, and that way I know I'm going to go to town when it is that time.
Nice.
Yeah.
Uh,
And what's next on your list?
so number 4 is actually, this is one I sampled. I've only got maybe 1-2 hours in.
Okay.
Um, and it's for the PlayStation as well. And that is Ghost of Tsushima.
Man.
I know I posted images of it, having sampled of it, and it's such a beautiful game. What really struck me with the game is it's had a lot of elements of it reminded me of Zelda in execution,
Mm-hmm.
but this is definitely not a Zelda game. Like this is like, what if Zelda was truly a mature, slightly more realistic based game. This is how I feel about it. It's open world. The exploration reminds me a lot of uh, Ocarina, Wind Waker, Breath of the Wild, but you saw, like I showed the screen cap of you get to mount a horse and you can ride it through these, I mean, gorgeous fields. The combat from what little I played was so good. I love This is a game I'm looking forward to really sitting down now and just going through start to finish. Like I put the hour or so in just to get a feel of it, and it's just like, yeah, this is a no brainer. Like I am so excited to really get into this game, and it's funny because, man, like even me 10 years ago would never have touched the game, just not because there's anything wrong with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it wasn't a theme that I would have been into back then, like the whole Japanese thing. I think I've definitely opened up into where I explore game wise. So, and man, I am so glad because this has definitely got me stoked to just need to play this game. So
Totally hear that. From the little bit that I've seen on Twitter, people just sharing videos or screenshots, it's just over the top.
so I have to make a special mention of this, and I'll probably do it again if I play it back to back to back and enough in a short amount of condensed time. I'll probably do a review of the game. I only like doing reviews of games if I do them, if I can get it all done start to finish, and I do it in a short enough time that it's fresh in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't want to miss something. But I really feel like this needs to be mentioned. The photo mode. This game has its actually built-in photo mode, which means you basically pause the game and you can take away the entire hub, so it's completely open, and you can move the camera around everything. But this goes above and beyond because like Monster Hunter World does that now, and I know a lot of other games have a photo mode, but I don't know any that gives you the options that this game has given you. Because I toyed with it just a little bit. I didn't even do it all. I took a couple photos, but I didn't really sit there. It blows my mind where some games like Skyrim or something give you so many options for customizing your character. Like let's say character creation, some games really get in depth to it.
Yeah.
In the creation aspect. This they put it felt like 3 times as much attention just into the customization for photo mode.
That's amazing.
I was just blown away. Like I never would have expected. I'm content just finding a scene in the game where it's like, oh my gosh, this is such a beautiful scenery in the game, and that's half the fun, honestly. Like when I took the picture on the mount, like to find that field and to ride through it was such a beautiful set piece. Like it was there's something to say about exploring the game to find those areas.
Mm-hmm.
But this photo mode lets you actually customize the weather of what's going on.
Oh man,
night or day, how much detail, the lighting, where the light is coming from, the shadowing. I mean, this thing was covering so much detail, whether you were clean, dirty, like from the elements. I mean, this game like just like to put that into a photo mode. You can literally spend a day just customizing like photos in a different area of the game. You're not really even playing the game for story or anything else. Your character's not even moving. You're just sitting there having fun, different angles, different. I mean, just for taking photos from the game. And I'm like, I got to give them kudos for that. That was just.
That's epic, man. I've
literally
never heard of that before.
Exactly. Neither have I. Like, I've heard of photo mode, but this is just a whole new. This is literally making a game, which in and of itself is considered an art medium now,
mm-hmm.
and you literally have turned this art medium into an art. Like you like just for. You could have easily sold that for 30, or like a photo mode in general. Here's an open world. Just go around, take a photo. Like that. It feels like that could be a $30, $40 game in and of itself. Forget all the combat or anything else.
Yeah.
If all you had was this open world for just exploring with those type of photo mode elements, I'd buy the game just for that. Like this is incredible for what they did. So I have to mention that. I got to give them credit.
No, that's fair, man.
All right. So what is your 5th game?
Oh, man. My 5th is, and it's interesting. Well, obviously, I'm not going to reveal it just yet. I've got to like build things up a little bit. Tease the audience.
I know that feeling too. Oh, and if only you see what I see. He's like, this is a whole visual description of what he's saying he does.
But this is one that I have the collector's edition of, and it's still sealed. And there are a few reasons for why I haven't jumped in yet. One of the reasons is mainly that like I'm playing other things right now, so I'm not just going to start it for whatever. And the second reason is the fact that it's still sealed. And it's this great kind of like infinite loop where it's like, oh, I'm not cracking it because I'm not playing it, but like I also don't want to play it because that would require cracking it.
Oh,
man.
So
it's just great. So anyway, Sakuna of Rice and Ruin. The Divine Edition is like, yeah, it's one thing to see a picture of this collector's edition. It's another thing entirely to hold it in your hands and just I might as well just grab it, to be honest, so that way you can hear Card Dreamer reacting to it.
Oh, well, grab the game too. Oh
Okay,
man,
so
you didn't even get to hear that one, guys. He took the headset off. Oh, dude, that is such. Because I have the exact same edition for the PS4, so I know everything you're talking about.
yeah, it's like you're holding a block of gold or something.
I think it's we really need to note like the best part of it is that even though this is more than a standard edition of the game, the price is standard edition. There was no added cost for this.
Yeah.
That like they went above and beyond for a full blown game for this. Like it,
I'm rolling away from the mic, but it's just like I don't even want to open this because it's so beautiful as is in this pristine sealed form. But again, it was one of those games where it's like when I saw the trailer, I was like, oh, this looks too good not to like. I knew nothing about this before. I had never heard of it. It was literally one of those situations where I just see this game and it's like, wow, that looks so good. I'm ordering it right now. I don't even care when I play it. It's got to happen someday at some time.
man, you're so right, man. I knew nothing about it either. I don't know if it's part of a series, if that's the first game. I don't know. I knew nothing about it. I
Yeah.
forget somebody posted it on Twitter. It may have been Hammerfist. I don't remember who it was. But like the second I saw it, I said, "Oh!" And they linked to a trailer. I was like, "Yeah, I was sold. Had to get this." And then when I saw the edition this was for just a regular $60, I'm like, that's a no brainer. I mean,
Totally.
this company is doing it right.
Yeah,
I gotta support that.
totally. And this is like a solid item. Like, it feels like I'm holding 10 pounds worth of just, yeah, goodness. And I think one of the main things, like when I checked this out on Play Asia, and I saw that like, okay, you get the physical, you get some sort of cloth omamori charm, and then you get like this sweet looking art book and a 3-disc CD OST. Like what? Like how could you not?
No, totally agree. And I know it comes with the soundtrack.
Yeah,
Um, like yeah, there's no ifs ands or buts. They put a lot of effort into that, and it is so beautiful.
totally.
So yeah, I mean, is there more you wanted to add on that one? Because I easily could. I get it.
No, it's all good.
All right, so my number 5 is Yoshi's Crafted World for the Nintendo
Ooh,
Switch.
interesting.
Um, so you all can go ooh and ah that an Xbox game has not made it onto here. Like none of these are available on Xbox, which is funny because I mean we all know Xbox is my preferred system, and there is a ton of games on Xbox I want to play. Don't get me wrong, but I'm more hyped for Yoshi because I mean anybody knows the channel and I did a Let's Play for Yoshi's Woolly World
Yeah,
last year. And that game took me by surprise because it was so fun. The colors are bright and vibrant and fun to look at, and it was also just a beautifully well-looking game. It was a very good platformer. I like that it they managed to blend like if you were a young kid, you were going to be able to beat the game, no problem. But at the same time, there were things that were hidden, and for collections of stuff, there was enough platforming challenge that keep a gamer of just about any age going. Like there was something for everybody in this game,
yeah,
and that's not an easy thing to do. Like how do you make a platformer accessible to kids and the more hardcore aspect of people. Like they did a phenomenal job on it, and I liked the play on the yarn theme from Woolly World. So everything that game they're bringing over and plus more to they brought over to Craft the World insofar as like it looks like handcrafts and with cloth and buttons and pins, and I'm excited to see what they do with it because not only am I do like platformers and I like Mario in general. The Yoshi games bring something different. I liked the creativeness behind it. It's just something that's fun. It's relaxing, but it's also a challenge. And I'm just excited to see what they do with it. Because as soon as I saw they announced that, I think it was actually shortly that's I think what got me kind of looking into Whirly World. And then once I played Whirly World, I was like, oh yeah, there's no second guessing. I gotta do Crafted World.
Oh man, that's fantastic. Yeah, I remember checking out the Woolly World video that you did. Pretty sure.
Yeah, I remember you. I think you watched like the first. I wasn't expecting because I know you're not a huge Mario fan. I
Yeah,
wasn't
definitely
expecting
not.
to watch the whole. I think it was like 8 parts or something.
I think so, something like that. Oh man. But no, that's great. It reminds me of one Mario game that I actually do want to play. Has nothing to do with the discussion lists, but Yoshi's Island, which I have for Game Boy SP. Um, I've watched Autumn play that game a number of times over the last few years, and every time it just looks like such a charming game. Like, just there's something so cool about it. Like, oh, so yeah, hearing about the Woolly World just reminds me of that game. And
And that's where it stems from. Like that's what started the whole Yoshi line of games. So
yeah,
and it's funny you mention that because that's one I actually haven't played yet either, and easily could have made this list
yeah.
if we were extending it to like top 10. Oh, it would have been on that list as well.
Oh, nice. I even booted it up just last week and was just watching the title screen where I think it's like the camera angle is like looking at the island and it's like rotating, so it's like the
Yes.
perspective, yeah. And you see all these little things happening on the island as you're kind of just like yeah, moving around and watching the goings on and oh, moments like that is just like wow, someday I'm gonna love jumping into this for the first time ever.
And there's just and you know we did a top 5, but there's so many good games out there. Like
Yeah,
it's really hard to do anything justice, like a list like this justice, because you're any given day you're gonna be like the Wooly could hit you for a specific game. You're like, oh man, this needs to be on this list.
yeah. Well, it's funny because I said to myself before I got home, like, yeah, no shmups are allowed on this list because that's a whole other discussion. And we could literally have like 20 different, like, I was thinking, like, doing like our top 5 or top 10 favorite Game Boy games or like Game Boy Color or whatever. Like, those I could just thrive in. I could just go to town.
Man, yeah, I mean, I personally, I don't think I could do Game Boy Color because I never had one.
Oh,
I,
man.
I went from original Game Boy to the Game Boy SP. Oh, I guess that's a color. I'm sorry. Game Boy. No, that was Game Boy Advance. I went from the original Game Boy to Game Boy Advance.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, no, I mean, I can easily get into those type of videos though. Like I could do, uh, top Nintendo games, top Super Nintendo games, top Game Boy games, top, and I technically could do color since I can still access the library and play it if I really wanted to.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, I could easily favorite at 360 games. Yeah, I could easily do anything like that. I totally agree. They're always fun to do.
Yeah, for sure. So,
So, did you want to do your second list?
Yeah, and this doesn't necessarily need to even be like, yeah, like super in depth, because essentially all of these are, well, almost all of these are pre-order. Yeah, some of them are on the way, others I'm still just flat out waiting on. But did you have anything for this list, or is this kind of going to
I
be just me?
so I think it's going to be. This is kind of like the bonus Dace short video since
Yeah,
he's
that's fair.
abandoned us for a while. On Stonebeak, there's kind of been like a dry spell, and he's just making you miss him and like really building up the need. Um, no, because I think you. This is a little more particular in your boat because you do the physicals more than I do.
Hmm.
Um, it's kind of like the downside to Xbox is they're not doing physicals, but it's also the upside, which means I could just jump on the game sooner.
Yeah, totally.
So I've got everything I've pre-ordered with the exception of East Origins and Star Wars Racer, both of which I have digitally. So
No, that's fair. So I will start off with, oh, maybe I'll actually save like the biggest for last. I think I'll do that. Um, so, and these are not necessarily in order of like, oh yeah, like this one's fine, all the way up to like, oh, the best of the best. Like they're all amazing, and I'm all like all about these. So, I will start with the game Coffee Talk. Oh,
I don't know. That's funny you mentioned that because I do. I remember that came out and I have it for free as long as I have Xbox Gold. But I can't
yeah.
access it right now, but I have the ability to play it whenever I want right now because that and it looked like a neat game, but I don't quite know what it's about. So I'm very intrigued to hear what you're going to say. That's
Yeah, so it's funny because um it was sometime last year, I'm pretty sure, like early last year. Autumn and I were sitting in the living room, and I I had known about the game, but I didn't really pay any attention to it initially. But anyway, that day I was like, you know what, I want to just take a look as to like what this game is about in yeah, just with greater detail. So I checked out YouTube, and I just see like this scene in a coffee shop where like people are literally just like characters and NPCs are literally just talking to you, the barista of this place. And it's rainy outside, there's lo-fi music playing, and the whole point of the game is to make drinks for people and listen to what they have to say, their problems, their like day to day, whatever's that they're going to talk about. And there was just something so magical about it, and I've even gone out of my way to like listen to some of the tracks on repeat because I love them so much. Um, but yeah, that's one game. We both ordered the collector's edition from I think Strictly Limited. Yeah, um, because there is just a boatload of awesome stuff with that. So yeah, that's one game that I'm really excited to finally get and
man,
play.
that definitely sounds intriguing.
Yeah, for sure. And you just like you see silhouettes of people walking past outside like in the rain and stuff like that too. So yeah, I'm really excited to just see all the little details that they've pumped into that game and just more or less just treat it as like a rainy day kind of vibe where you just want to kick back and not do anything crazy. You just want to listen and enjoy.
I feel like there needs to be like the sleazy back alley follow up called Bar Talk. Like just
Yes.
hear what the drunken patrons are all saying. Hear the badly hit upon women, like from these
Yeah.
drunken guys, like fat ones with the tank top that barely covers their half a gut. I, and then there's like this window, and you can see people, or not window, like these maybe slightly top down, and you can see like these people passing out in the alley. Or
Yeah.
I kind of now want this game.
That'll be the sequel.
Bar Talk. That'll be great.
Yeah.
But no, Coffee Talk. That I'm gonna have to definitely reevaluate looking into this game.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, that's one that has been pre-ordered for a while. I think that's rolling out in the next month or two. I could be mistaken. I haven't checked lately, but I know it's not far off now, according to their like shipping updates and stuff like that, or production updates rather. The next one is something that I know Card Dreamer, you and I can have a few minutes of chat about, or maybe a moment of silence, and that is
Uh oh.
and
Uh oh.
and this one, okay, this one is actually not, well, it's a pre-order in a sense, but it's kind of like a, you support it, and because you're supporting it, you're going to get a physical. I wonder if you know which one this is. One,
Crosscode.
no,
Oh.
Hazelnut Bastille.
Oh. You know what? I don't even want to talk about this game right now.
Because
This game is like,
that's another discussion.
it really is. Like, what the heck, man? Come on. We have like, my brother's got this fund. He funded it when it was initially on Kickstarter. I think we did the
Mm,
second. You and I did the second backing,
yeah,
and the second backing has been over a year from now. It's like, come on, guys, give me my game. Like, I appreciate everything that they want to do with the game, and then they did Dawnthorn, the prequel, and that's coming for the backers, and that's great.
mm,
But stop splitting your time up between both games. Focus on one, get it done, then give me the other.
yeah. They don't need to please anyone with like bonus stuff. Like people already love it and are on board, so just do it. But anyway, that's a chat for later. Another one that
Way to
is
tackle that sore spot in the middle of a great conversation.
another one that's um, the same sort of deal. Definitely not a, like, yeah, it's one that's like in the works, and because it's been backed, I'm gonna get a physical of some sort. But Sea of Stars, if you people do not know this game, you have got to look up the trailer. Like, if nothing else, like, yeah, sure, like, look up pictures or whatever. But the trailer, the visuals, there's a section where I think, like, it's nighttime and, like, or something's, the sun's setting or something, and the shadows are cast over this thing. It is phenomenal. And it just looks like it's so enchanting and so good. So that's
How have
another
I
one that,
not seen this?
oh, dude, it is just every once in a while I go back to the trailer and it's just like, you've got to be joking me. Like, this has to just be played like right now, but it might be like another year or so.
We are going to change like all our discussions to like top 10 games Dace is going to turn you on to.
Yeah.
Like, this, like, what the heck?
Oh man, so good.
It looks incredible.
It really does. It's so impressive. Like the visuals alone are just ridiculous.
That is, and I'm just looking at images. Like, I'm not looking at any video.
Yeah, you've got to check out the trailer. It doesn't have to be right now, but you've got to see
Oh no, I think it does. No, I'm just kidding.
it.
Oh man, no, yeah, I'm deaf.
And it's funny because they don't actually like they weren't sure what physicals they're going to be able to do, but they're kind of just going to say like when they get, because I think at the time I backed it, it was like going to still be another 2 years before that game is ready. And so all they could really say at that point is like, yeah, like whatever the demand is at that time, well, like we'll do as many platforms as we can, but like whoever is like the biggest, like that's like the guaranteed physical that's going to be happening. So I'm thinking like I'm in it for Switch, and I feel like that has got to be a Switch game. Like there's just no way it could not be. So That's kind of what I'm banking on.
And it's the same people who did the Messenger.
Yeah,
Oh man, sold, done. Guys,
done.
get it, just done.
Yeah,
It's done. I don't even want to hear your people's comments until you tell me it's pre-ordered.
yeah, totally.
I mean, no, because the Messenger is such a great game too. So I fully trust them to do another good game.
Oh man, yeah. The Messenger. Oh man, I took so many screenshots and just flooded Instagram with those screenshots. That game is gorgeous. But yeah, so the next one is a pre-order. I'm not sure when it's shipping out. I got it through limited run, but I don't actually think it's one of their like official releases. I think it's like coming from somewhere else. I could be mistaken, but I have no clue when this is shipping out. But Kunai just looks like an epic platform. Like I love the color palette. Um, and it just looks like my kind of game. Like it kind of reminds me of like Celeste, but mixed with yeah something else. Like maybe I'm not sure, but I'm stoked. So yeah, I won't really go into too much detail. Like some people will know it, some people can look it up if they don't know it. But yeah, Kunai is another one. One that was just I think actually just went live for pre-order yesterday. Uh, Itta, which has technically been out digitally for yeah, a little while now. Um, Danny from Switch Underground did a video on it, and it's kind of like a twin sticks bullet. I'm not sure if it's bullet hell ish. I think it is, but like it's a twin sticks one with like crazy. It's kind of like Enter the Gungeon, sort of, except
Twin
the
stick
world.
shooter.
Yeah, but the world is a little more fascinating for me because it's just like yeah, like I just remember some of these. Well, first off, the art style is like just awesome, but I remember sections where like there are, I think, waterfalls and like just these awesome looking trees and like caves where you go in and like you go up against these big ass bosses and stuff like that. And I had it on my wish list for a long time, and I just kept holding off because I was thinking like, yeah, you know what, this is a must as a physical, and they finally announced it. And so yeah, I just snagged that yesterday. I'm stoked for whenever it is that's going to be ready. So yeah, that's another one. Super pumped for that. I might as well just keep this rolling and go right into Star Renegades, which Card Dreamer, you
Oh
did that.
man, I played. Yeah, I did a let's try of it, and I've actually have played it for several hours after that let's try.
Amazing.
And yeah, that is a phenomenal. That is such a cool game.
Yeah, I've been following I think the developers or someone that's like in charge of this or that or whatever on Twitter for quite a while, like long before this ever was even ready. And I still remember the first screenshot I saw, like just something. I think there was a lot of pink. I'm not sure if it was like pink leaves on a tree or if it was a pink robot or something, but I just saw it and was like, this game is a must. I don't care what it's about. The pixel art alone
Mm.
demands that this gets obtained. So I ordered a physical on PlayAsia, which I think is January or February that ships. So that's going to be exciting stuff. Um, Another one is the Minish Cap, and I'm just kind of like I don't have it except on the SNES Mini, of course. But yeah, like I grew up with the handheld Zeldas. I love them. I never knew about Minish Cap until years later, and now that I'm getting back into some Game Boy collecting, that has sort of just is yeah, it's just one I've zeroed in on. It's kind of one that's like, how could I not just track it down and play it? Like this one's a must for me. So Yeah, that's another one. And last, but oh no, I have one more, and then the big one, Alista Collection. So for those who are shmup fans, will know that this just recently came out. Um, I have mine on the way. I think it'll be here in like a week or two, maybe. Um, but yeah, that's just like if you're into retro shmups, oh, you've got to look at this. It is just, it's jam packed with like just amazing shmup action and awesome music. And I've actually watched like some fairly in-depth reviews on like everything they did for this release, and I'm just over the top stoked. Like this cannot get here fast enough. The moment it does, I'm just going to be like recording and recording and recording. And so yeah, really stoked about that. And I love that Card Dream is just kind of like soaking this all in.
I really am, because I mean, I'd argue a good chunk of my game collection has come from just having you and by extension other people who have become friends talk about games that I know nothing about.
Mm-hmm.
So it's because of you guys that I don't have a roof over my head, and I'm here now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, like, because of you, especially you, and then by extension Lord Shmup and a couple others,
Mm-hmm.
that I even got into the shmup genre and have what any of those.
Yeah. And
And
you've
then
acquired a decent collection already, I would say. You've lapped up quite a few, I think.
yeah, I don't know exactly how many it is, but like I think just for the 360 alone, I've got 3 physicals, or excuse me, I got 2 physicals, but then I think I've got. It seems like a lot of them I can't get physically in the U.S. at least. They
Mm-hmm.
look like they were Japan only releases physically, but I've got digital titles, quite a few, and then plus the Xbox One, and then some on Switch, and then there's even a couple that I have on the SNES Mini. Um, so yeah, I've been definitely, it's been a whole new genre to delve into and get to explore, and then man, just in this discussion alone, you've introed me to like feel like 20 different new games that I've got to look into. Like Tangle Deep is definitely one. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. And
Dude.
then Sea of Stars is another one. Like those are the top two. Like, holy crap, how did I miss this?
Yeah, seriously.
Like yeah,
Just oh, just too good.
and Coffee Talk is definitely because I mean, technically have it so now. So as soon as I have access again to my Xbox games, I will definitely be taking a look at that.
Yeah, sweet man. Yeah, there's just something about that game. I was thinking about this way back too when I pre-ordered it, just how like it's the kind of game where you could literally like if you want to record but you don't want to do anything super in depth, you can literally just do that game without even doing commentary. Because that way the people can just listen and they can just watch and read, and how cool is that? But if you are going to do commentary, it's like it's so low key. You're not focusing on like solving puzzles or like fighting enemies. It's just you're sitting there relaxing. Like it's just the coolest thing to me. So
I feel like we have your first ebook, man. Like Dace reads Coffee Talk.
yeah.
That just you're just reading the dialogue.
Man, I'm down.
No, yeah, like that's why I love doing discussions. I've learned so many games. There are games I'm looking forward to that are coming out that I pre-ordered, but they're
Mhm.
not out. They're not even out digitally, so I can't. I don't
Okay.
count
Yeah,
them.
that's fair. The last one I have on my list, which is like a doozy, is I think it was in 2018 when, yeah, it had to be. Yeah, it was definitely 2018. Our friend at the time was streaming this game quite a bit,
Mm.
and everyone who saw it was just sold the moment they saw it. And I have the collector's edition coming from, I think it was through Limited Run, but Crosscode. Big surprise there. The game's been out for quite a long while now, obviously, and
Yeah.
I don't even need to say anything.
You don't. Like anybody who knows RPGs, anybody who knows the indie scene, like they have to know that game. They have to.
Crosscode. Look it up. Look at visuals of the temples, the like marshland area, the mountains, like just the character art. Oh, the intrigue, the mystery of the story as you go. Like I eventually stopped watching the streams because I was like, you know what? I do not want to see any more of this. Like it's just too good that like I don't want anything else spoiled because I know this is coming to Switch eventually, and I'm gonna be playing it. So
And he did. I mean, because I was there. You know, you and I were both there for the same streams, but he did like 13, 14 parts to that, and he didn't even. He still didn't really scratch the surface of what that game has to offer, and more content for it. I think got put into it when they did the Switch, the console version.
Man, that is insane. You know what? I'm curious how long Crosscode is. I'm gonna look it up. So people are saying an average of 33 hours. Some people are saying 50 for main plus extras. So completionists, they're looking at around 74 hours apparently. So that's pretty awesome because like that's one thing like I know this is going to be one of the best games that I have ever played. Like I've known that since I first saw it, and I'm just so pumped for whenever that ships and gets here. And I just know this is going to be one of those games where I just sink into it completely. And that's going to be that.
Yeah, that. I don't know if I'll. Cause, I mean, you've completed more RPGs than me, so you have less of a backlog of them to deal with. I'll be like, okay, I beat the story. I don't get what that's the worst ending I possibly could have. Good enough. Move on.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't save anybody in the kingdom except the little puppy. Fine, whatever. Move on.
Yeah. Screw them.
Of course, that would be the ending little CD does go for. Is like everyone's done. I don't care. I'm left.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh man. Yeah, this is. I mean, I could go on and on about games I'm honestly, like truly looking forward to playing that I haven't touched yet.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of been really wanting to play the new Dragon Quest game that just released. Well, I know the definitive edition just dropped not too long ago for Xbox, and
Nice.
I think it hit PlayStation 4, even though they had the base edition first. And
Yeah.
I think Nintendo was the first to get the definitive edition. But I've just seen and heard nothing but great things about it, and I heard it's just epic. So that's one I definitely want to and need to get to. I want to get to, and I have that on Xbox. So here you go, people. Here's my Xbox top wanting to get to. Kingdoms of Amalur: Re-Reckoning I want to get to because I remember dumping. I never beat it on the 360, but I pumped so many hours into it, and the only reason I didn't beat it was just because I was following an achievement guide at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Which to be fair, I'm probably going to end up doing with this because it's one of those. Not because I'm addicted to achievements per se anymore. Which I mean, I still have that addiction, but I mean, it's not because I'm still like gung ho trying to do it. It's just one of those games, and like I know my brother and Little CD are like that too. There's those select games where you just know you enjoy so much that you really want to get everything out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one I want to get the achievements for, no matter how long it takes. Just because, like Immortals was the same way. I wanted to get all the achievements for it because I had so much fun with it.
Yeah, I hear that.
So, and Kingdoms of Amalur may not be like the strongest story wise, but I would say that most people I think would rate that a solid B RPG. But the gameplay mechanics were so good for it. Like that, I can't wait to get back to that or to do that the remaster version. I know Dragon's Dogma is one I kept hearing nothing but good things about.
Yeah, same here.
And then retro-wise, I need to really go back and do Chrono Cross, Chrono Trigger. I've never played either one of them. So
Dude, Chrono Cross is so good. I couldn't even tell you how many times I've played that. And amazingly enough, I've played, like, there was a time where I played that game, I think, two, three, no, yeah, it was definitely three times back to back. And I'm not talking like over the course of a few months. It's like I ripped through it in a matter of days and I started again, ripped through it in a matter of days, started a third time because it's so good. Now, of course, part of why I was doing that was to get all like 50 billion characters at my disposal because you can't get all of them in a single playthrough. I think it takes like 2.5 or something.
nice.
But still, like, a game has to be over the top good for you to be able to sit through it three times in a row without breaks.
I think we're ladies and gentlemen. I think you're hearing the brewing of more discussions to come.
Yeah, totally.
But why don't we? I think this would be a good place to end this.
Totally agree.
Thank everybody for taking the time to listen. I thank Dace and Autumn for their continued hospitality in their home. Don't think I haven't noticed my stuff has ended on the inches closer to the front door, but that's okay.
Yeah. Well, you're at least earning your keep in other ways.
Giggity. So yeah, I'm Card Dreamer.
And I'm Dace.
And this has been a Let's Discuss of our top 5-ish games that are in our backlog that we're still looking forward to getting to. I thought it'd be a fun little twist on everybody always looks forward to games coming out. I thought it'd be fun to look back, like, for those who have a big catalog, what you're still anxious to get to that you haven't tackled yet.
Yeah, for sure.
But until next time, stay evil. I say that like, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But, yep, I'll see you all guys. Talk to you all guys later.